storms. What does this really mean? So, obviously, I had this thought because we've had some crazy weather, and this morning it was nuts, like super nuts. I looked up the meaning of weathering storms because sometimes people will talk about they weather the storm, or they'll tell you you just need to weather the storm. So, I love to learn, so I looked it up. Weathering the storm, by definition, means you will persevere through the storm without too much damage or harm. Now, I believe that the only person going through the storm can truly quantify what too much damage means to them. Like, basically, my too much is different than your too much. I have been through some storms. Lord have mercy. Let me give you an example. Several years ago, I had major flooding in my home. And my home is a split tri-level with a full basement on both sides. Both sides, within like 8 months of each other, went through significant flooding. I spent over $20,000 just on the dry out. Just on the dry out, which was less than a third of the full cost of restoration. Now, of course, all the flooring had to be replaced in every single room in the basement. And I was not confident that I was going to be able to weather that storm. Like, there were times when I stood down there and I thought, this is going to take me out. And then I had a random, dangerous, and funny, not so funny thought. What's the penalty for arson? Maybe I can just light a box of matches, throw them in the house, and run. But of course, I love my home. It's an older home. It was built in the 60s. And it just would have been a problem. Insurance fraud, arson charges, all sorts of things. So thank God that conniving thought passed. But anyway, it literally was taking me out. I mean, there were times when I cried. I stood down there and thought, I do not have the bandwidth to go through this. I cannot weather this storm. But because that experience was so horrible, and I wanted to prepare myself in the best way possible to avoid so much destruction from another storm, I had substantial foundation work done on one side of my home, and I had sump pumps installed on both sides of the basement. Now, because of the nature of life, I realize that we cannot always prepare for the storm. But I encourage you, when you can prepare, please do not ignore the preparation. Prepare in the best way possible. This preparation may be a sacrifice to you. It might be a headache. It might be outside of your budget. You might not want to think about it. But when the storm comes, if you prepare the best way possible, you will be better equipped to weather the storm. And my final hope today for all of you is that whatever storm you might be going through, that you'll have people that'll rally around you, that the resources will come to you, that you'll get a strategy, and that you will be able to weather your storm. Sending love to all of you this week.